Hey guys, welcome back. In today's video, we are talking about how shorts are throwing away more money, why we have won, how the shorts can't close, and many more in this video. First, we're taking a look at this. What if you bet heavily on AMC's bankruptcy and then the movie business begins to thrive? AMC gets their financials in order and millions of retail investors keep buying and hodling the shares. And all you can do is throw more short interest at the stock, not an enviable situation. Now, when you take a look at this, some things that we already know is that, of course, the apes have been buying and holding onto the shares. We've seen that with the OBV, we've seen that with the stats that's been given out to us. So we know that that's what's happening right now. And the shorts are obviously afraid of that. But more importantly, is obviously talking about how they're betting on AMC's bankruptcy, despite the fact AMC is thriving right now. When you take a look at what's happening, AMC was supposed to go bankrupt between 2020 and 2021. And now, here we are getting major studio updates for movies in 2027 and 2028. I don't think people understand we won. Market makers on Wall Street are playing catch up now while we watch movies and eat popcorn. And this generally sums up everything, because throughout the last 3, 4, 5 years, all we have been doing, of course, is every time we have the opportunity, every time we get the chance, whether that's because we have the capital, whether it's because we see it as a discount, apes have been buying into AMC. And that's the only cost that will obviously occur to us. Now, for the short sellers throughout the last 4 or 5 years, what they have been doing is spending money every single day financing their existing short positions. But not only that, on top of that, they are obviously creating even more short positions, whether that's by just opening more short positions, whether that's rehypothecating and creating synthetics, whether that's with the swaps, the tokens, everything that we have talked about in previous videos. That's what they have been doing constantly every day for the last few years. And so you can take a look at how apes barely spend any money. The money that we will spend is obviously from time to time in which we are buying shares, and there is no maintenance cost for that whatsoever. Once you've bought the shares, there is no money to be spent, aside from, of course, if you are going to AMC to watch movies, then of course that's another side of money that you're spending. But for the short sellers, every time they create a position, they're spending money, and to keep that position open, they're spending even more money. And we have to remember, they are making and creating positions every single day. That means the money that it costs for them to maintain and finance these short positions are also increasing day by day. It's going up. And so that's why we talk about how they're playing catch up while we just get to sit here and relax, because we've realized how big of a mistake they've made. And the shorts obviously realize as well, but they have no choice but to continue shorting on AMC. And you can see for the fundamentals, and we can take a look at the box office, not even a full week into August, and we are at 1.25 billion domestically. Now, this is just showing what's happening right now, and we can see in terms of how the movie industry is thriving. People who are saying that AMC is in the dead industry, people who are saying that AMC is a dead company, clearly haven't done the research. Like we've always said, we want to keep this as non-biased as possible. And we take a look at what the data is showing us, what the facts is showing us. And the fact is, the box office is thriving. And now AMC, as the biggest company within this industry, if they're seeing the industry that is thriving, you can obviously see how they will benefit from it. Now, like we also mentioned in the past before, there are of course areas where AMC can improve. They can always improve. They've already done extremely well. We've already deep dived into the fundamentals. We talked about their business structures, their operations, how they're improving, how they're making money. And from that, we are already seeing how they're doing well. But of course, what we want to see and what we are seeing is how AMC is still continuously improving on top of everything that they have been doing. And so with that, you'll realize that as we see the box office go up even higher, we're going to be seeing AMC benefiting a lot from this. And the shorts can't see this. They are afraid to see this. It makes them angry to see this because they thought AMC was going to go bankrupt. But AMC has not only recovered from everything, but has taken it one step further. And of course, will continuously progress even more in the future. And you can even see other institutions who are now having to give AMC a good rating despite how they actually feel about AMC. Stock analyst B. Riley predicts AMC Theaters will earn 0.08 per share in Q2 of 2025. suggesting a profit about 34 million with a public flow of 471 million shares. I'm more bullish on Q2's forecast net earnings around 80 million, equivalent to roughly 0.18 per share. And so from before, where we talked about how these institutions have constantly say AMC is going to go bankrupt, how they constantly give bad ratings on AMC, whether it's with their forecast on their earnings, whether with their price targets on AMC, you can see how everything is starting to shift right now. Now, I know it pains them to even give AMC a 0.08. Even though it's not much, it still pains them to do this because they once thought that AMC was going to be losing hundreds of millions of dollars every single month. They once thought AMC was going to go bankrupt within half a year, but now AMC has obviously survived. And what I've always said is this as well. Whilst they've obviously having to give AMC a positive earnings now, a positive ratings, you have to understand I still believe that they are undermining where AMC is because it's in their best interest that AMC doesn't do well. It's in their best interest that AMC goes bankrupt because they've already sunk in billions of dollars to keep AMC down, to short AMC. And so, when we take a look at these earnings, I do believe that earnings will be even better than this. And of course, what they want to do is obviously create a false incentive for AMC. They want to create a false mirage for AMC to ultimately sway investors away from AMC because that's what they have been doing for the last 4-5 years and will continue to do so until either A, they go bankrupt, or B, AMC goes bankrupt. Actually, even C, if Apes were to leave AMC. But we know that AMC going bankruptcy and Apes leaving AMC, those two things aren't going to happen. The only thing that will happen is when AMC squeezes multiple short institutions to obviously go bankrupt. And now you can even see now Robinhood ad is bullish on AMC. Now, of course, when we take a look at this, we have to understand is that essentially the sentiment on AMC has pretty much always been positive. From the retail side, we've always only seen net buying. It doesn't mean there's no selling. It just means that the buying has always been bigger than the selling. And now, whilst the price may not reflect that, we obviously understand the reasons why. When you take a look at all the dark pool usage, all of these manipulation tactics they've been using, you understand why despite having so much buys and sells, AMC is not going up. But recently, what we've also seen is that institutions have been accumulating. Now, again, along with the apes, institutions have always been accumulating. But recently, as for the last few quarters, you can see how institutions are really ramping up their accumulations on AMC. And that just shows really one thing. They're obviously trying to set up a play for AMC. They realize the potential in AMC. They're trying to get in as early as possible, as cheap as possible, because they understand where AMC will go in the future. And so with all of that, you understand where the sentiment is for AMC. And you can also understand that despite the fact we have such a bullish sentiment, we're still seeing the price go down, and that really just highlights how much corruption is in the market, how much manipulation and suppression AMC is facing on a daily basis. And now you can see, so I've been told by some people lately that shorts can close their AMC positions anytime they want with these low prices. No, they can't. How can they buy when no one will sell at these prices? What do they think HODL means? And so we have always seen this, whether it's with some bot that's on YouTube, that's on X, or whether it's with certain individuals who are obviously known as AMC short sellers. They've always talked about shorting AMC. They've always talked about closing these positions at ease, closing these positions at profit. But the truth is that actually what's happening? And what we can see is clearly not. Because with everything we've just talked about, with the fact that retail have been continuously buying and not selling, where are the shares available for them to cover? But not only that, when you take a look at some other things that have been shown to us, you can see this. XRT heavily used for GME shorting, now with 1,300 short interest. Now, we've talked about how certain ETFs like XRT are being used to short companies like AMC and GME. And now you can see can't squeeze an ETF because more shares can be created. But not only that, XRT has been placed on the regulation show for a significant level of failure to deliver. So we're seeing mass FTDs for XRT as well. And so if people are saying that short sellers can cover AMC at any time they want, can cover AMC and GME with ease, why are they still borrowing ETFs with the main use of it to target AMC and GME? If they can get out of these positions, if they can make their profit, they would have done so already. We wouldn't be seeing these short seller firms of AMC and GME to be losing all these money in their quarterly reports. And so the actual fact really is that when you see these posts talking about how people can get out, the actual thing is they can't. They've been stuck in this play for the last 4 or 5 years. You know it, I know it, they know it. Everybody knows it. Everyone who's done even the tiniest bit of research will understand the situation they're in. And that's why, we have to understand what is actually happening in the market. Now, as always, none of this is ever financial advice, so do take a while, take a grain of salt. Make sure to do your own due diligence and research, and I'll catch you guys next time.